Getting ready to buy or sell a home in 30, 60, or 90 days? Then check out bundleselect.com to find out how you could save 20% or more on your entire transaction. Save on real estate, lending, and title. With bundleselect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. Bundle Select's hand-picked team of experts will compete for your business, so you'll save thousands of dollars by bundling all of these services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. By bundling services like real estate, lending, and title, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Act now, and this new model could save you money on your move, lower your interest rate, or cover your closing costs. Visit bundleselect.com. That's bundleselect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker license number 004666902.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in, Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you again for continuing to follow the show. Those that are following us on Facebook, thank you for continuing to do that. We appreciate that very much. Continue to grow the social media part of it, and love to have the interaction. Let us know what you think. Give us your good feedback. We always get really good feedback on the shows. Before we get started, just a couple reminders. For more information, you can always go to RERL-1508-Exploring. That's RERL-1508-Exploring. For those that would like to reach me during the week, you could do that a couple different ways. One is by phone or text, 408-838-9060, or you could always email joe at RERL-1508.com. Best thing to do for the show is to download it. We love the people that are following the show on Facebook, on social media. But do me a favor, download the podcast. That way you can listen to the show. If you happen to miss it, listen to past shows and listen to it at your convenience. You could do that at RERL-1508.com, or just go to iTunes and type in Real Estate Radio Live, and up comes that little icon, and there you go, download the podcast. All right, most of you know the focus of the show for the last 8 years, education and information. We work hard to have great guests like I have today, content information to pass on to you, the consumer, with really the main objective is to give you more information and education so you make wise decisions in and around your real estate. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We try to keep it that way, but one of the things I continue to strive to do is give what I consider real value education information, not just market updates, not just things that I hope that people may think this is common sense and you know. So I'll continue to work hard on that. All right, with that, I'm going to invite in my guest, no stranger to the show. He's with us on a regular basis, rotating, Mr. Bill Benson. He is our reverse mortgage expert. Bill, good to have you here today.
Good to be here, Joe.
Always good to have the reverse mortgage expert. In a market like this, we've talked about it before. There's a few options out there other than conventional financing. We've heard me talk about conventional financing a lot. That's what I do. I help people finance mortgages, purchases, refinances, but there are a lot of people that are in situations where conventional financing doesn't work. And in many cases, the elder community, a lot of people don't know about some of these programs. So Bill's here to educate us on that. So first thing, Bill, if you could maybe give the listeners a little bit about your background and what you're currently doing, and then we'll dive into reverse mortgages.
Joe, my background, is too long at my age to discuss, but the last 35 years I've been in the mortgage business, and the last 12 I've been specializing in reverse mortgages.
Very good. And you're good at it. So I think the best thing to always do, Bill, I love to keep it real simple for people and break it down. And what I mean by that is I don't want to assume that everyone knows what reverse mortgage is. So maybe you could just take a minute or so and just explain, the basics. What is a reverse mortgage? How does it differ than a traditional mortgage?
Sure, Joe. I'd like to go back to the original intent. The original intent of the reverse mortgage, it was put in place by the federal government through FHA, is to allow seniors to stay in their homes at retirement by accessing cash from their homes and live their lives more comfortably. And they do that because reverse mortgages have, once they have the money, do the reverse mortgage loan, they have no obligation to a payment. They have an immediate cash flow.
Right.
They may have paid off a small mortgage, which would be one of the reasons they would want one. But once they have it, they can do anything they want. Could be anywhere from helping family, maybe grandkids headed for college, do some improvements on the home, anything that they want. Yeah.
Very good. So what about the requirements? Explain to people the requirements of reverse mortgage, because it doesn't apply to everyone. So give us age parameters and kind of how one would know that, hey, well, do I qualify or am I eligible for this?
The senior has to be 62 or older. They have to have enough equity in the house to draw from it. They have to be living in the home. It has to be their primary residence. There are no credit requirements or, very, very minor income requirements. Actually, the income requirements might be taken care of by putting the reverse mortgage in place and being able to draw from it.
Okay.
They can get the money either as a line of credit, a lump sum payment, or monthly income.
Okay.
Monthly income could be life or be for a specific period of time if they have a need for a specific period of time. Or they could get a combination of all three. And usually that's the case because there are some closing costs involved with reverse mortgage, and those are usually paid from the mortgage.
Right.
So that would be the lump sum payment.
Yeah.
And then they could have the rest in maybe a small monthly income if that's what they need, and then rest in a line of credit, or they could have it all in line of credit and just draw on it as they need.
Very good. So the reverse mortgage, as Bill's talking about, one of the beautiful things about it is that you could leverage the equity in your home, and I see this a lot. Been in residential financing for 18 years, and what I see quite a bit here in the Bay Area is people who have retired or maybe up in the ages. They've been fortunate enough to own real estate. They may be in their particular primary residence for 25, 30 plus years. They may have bought a home for $100,000 30 years ago, and now this home's worth several $1 million, and they owe very little or nothing on this home. But yet maybe a person has very little retirement. Maybe they have no pension. Pensions have gone away. There's no such thing as pensions anymore to a certain extent. Or maybe they're limited on Social Security. Or, a lot of their savings or investments, unfortunately may have been taken up with health or some other issues. There's things that happen in life. So one of the things about the reverse mortgage bill is that, again, you mentioned it, but, you have the ability to access cash from your home to try to put yourself in a better situation for a number of different things, right? It could be paying a college education for your grandchildren. Maybe you've always wanted to do that as a grandparent. Maybe you wanted to remodel your house all these years, and you could finally do it, but you're a couple $100,000 short, and a reverse mortgage could be used for that. So what you're saying, there's all these different things that there's no restrictions on what people could use the money for.
Joe, that's absolutely right. Now, the amount of money that they can receive is a percentage of the whole loan value.
Right.
The higher the loan value, the more they can get. The lower the interest rates, the more they can receive. And interest rates are still at historically low levels. And the older they are, the more they can receive.
Yeah. I always like to ask you, too, to take kind of the fear concept out of it, because over the years there's been a negative stigma, unfortunately. In some cases, people were taken advantage of. But so talk about some of the things that the government and Fannie and they put in place to try to avoid people getting taken advantage of with these reverse mortgages. Someone take us through kind of the steps of what takes place when someone is interested.
Well, a lot of these steps have been put in place over the years after the reverse mortgage was around for a while. But the most important one is that before they can apply for a reverse mortgage, that's not fair, but before they can have the reverse mortgage, they have to be counseled by professional counselors on reverse mortgages.
Okay.
And that's to be sure that they really understand what they're getting into. And that's, quite frankly, to protect them from me.
That's right.
And
not that anything's wrong with you, but
okay.
guys like you. Not guys like you, but guys that potentially could take advantage.
Well, that's right. But I said I've been in
Bill's okay, by the way, for those listening. Bill's a good guy. Go ahead.
Look, Joe, before I got into the mortgage business, I'd been in sales all my life since I got out of the Navy about 100 years ago. But I don't think reverse mortgages should be sold.
Right.
I think it's my job to educate people, but I have been in sales all this time, so sometimes I get a little too enthusiastic because I do believe in them. But I'm serious. The idea of this counseling is that to be sure that they understand what they're getting into. Mm-hmm. During the counseling, the counselor has access to the paperwork that I have, the numbers that I have shown them, so that they can go over them with the counselor together.
Okay.
It's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have all the way.
Very good. So we got a lot of things to discuss. We have another 4 or 5 minutes for this segment. So one of the things I'll give out before I want to have Bill give his information out, but before I say that or ask them, so this reverse mortgage is, if you're out there listening to this podcast, if you're watching us on Facebook or listening to the podcast, anyone that has parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, doesn't really matter. If you see them struggling in some sense, or you're wondering, a lot of people are very prideful, and I understand, they don't want to share problems and challenges, and I would say just keep an eye out for parents, grandparents, people that may be struggling or may not know who to reach out to help. And I see this a lot, and Bill does too. He could speak to it more than I do because he sees it more than, but I do see it enough where, people sometimes don't want to kind of step out of the normal box, and if they feel like they can't get normal financing, I think sometimes they feel like they're stuck. So I don't want people to feel stuck. I want you to know that there are opportunities out there and different options out there for people. So if you have family members that you think are struggling, and maybe they have equity in their home, but they don't have enough, monthly income or cash flow, some of these things, a reverse mortgage could be the perfect thing for them. So before I have you respond a little bit to that, Bill, if someone wants to reach you and they want more information for themselves or family members or something about reverse mortgage, how would they reach you? What's the best way to do that? Well,
the best way, I'm from the old school. I like telephone calls. I like to talk to people.
What's a
people
telephone?
Personally. Okay.
I know, I'm kidding. Go
well,
ahead.
I know it's you carry it around in your pocket. I still use a landline, although I do have a
yours is
cell
on
phone.
The wall, right?
Yeah. My telephone number is area code 408-378-6603. And my wife picks up the phone and she'll say, Bill Benson's office, if it's business hours, because I work from a home office living here in Los Gatos. I also take calls in the evening, and if it's Monday night and the 49ers are playing, I'm upset to take a call. My wife reminds me, now, honey, you tell them to call you in the evening.
That's right. The thing that I love about Bill is that, he's lived this. He's been through this business. He has a reverse mortgage himself. I'm not going to speak for him. He can talk a little bit about it. So he is the person that knows it, and there's a lot of people that talk about things and will share things with you, but they don't actually live them. So Bill's not only been in the mortgage business for years, but he's been helping people reverse financing, reverse mortgages. He has one himself, so he could speak to it. So that makes you an expert, right? I would say.
Gee whiz, Joe. Thank you very much.
Not to put it on your shoulders, but I would say.
I've got to say that while I have most of the answers, I don't have them all, but I know where to get them.
Good.
So if you want to call and ask me really tough questions, please do.
Very good. So before we take a break, again, in the reverse mortgage world, tell us a little bit about, if you can, the types of programs. You already talked about you get cash out or an equity line or kind of do that type of thing. How does it work in terms of the length of the loan, the interest rate? Are they fixed? Are they adjustable? How does that whole thing work without getting too complicated on it?
There's a fixed rate loan that's available. The only negative with the fixed rate loan is you have to take all the money that you're going to get immediately, and it comes in a lump sum.
Okay.
The monthly income and the lines of credit are adjustable rate loans, and the length of the mortgage is as long as you're living in the house permanently.
Okay.
So, if you're 62 and you live for 45 years and you're now 100 and 7,
something
17?
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
We should be able to do the math.
I need my calculator. You're still there.
Right.
And you have to stay in the house. Another good use for a reverse mortgage might be for home care.
That's true, right.
And I tell you a little story a little later on when we get back from the deal there. But it's a very interesting story, and it has to do with a lady who's 97 years old.
No, examples are good, so we'll do that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have much more with Bill Benson. He's our reverse mortgage specialist. Again, for those that are following us on Facebook, stick with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you to continue the show in about a minute.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Getting ready to buy or sell a home in 30, 60, or 90 days? Then check out BundleSelect.com to find out how you could save 20% or more on your entire transaction. Save on real estate, lending, and title. With BundleSelect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. Bundle Select's hand-picked team of experts will compete for your business, so you'll save thousands of dollars by bundling all of these services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. By bundling services like real estate, lending, and title, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Act now, and this new model could save you money on your move, lower your interest rate, or cover your closing costs. Visit BundleSelect.com. That's BundleSelect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker license number 004666902.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you again for following the show. Those that have continued to follow us on Facebook, thank you. We try to bring the shows live to you during the live part of the show, and then, of course, this becomes the podcast. And if you want to follow the podcast, download that. You go to RERadiolive.com or go to iTunes, type in Real Estate Radio Live, download the podcast, follow the show at your convenience. Today we have in studio Bill Benson, who is our reverse mortgage expert. First segment, we talked a little bit about kind of the examples of a reverse mortgage, what it is. Bill gave us the breakdown of how you could use it, how it works, some of the programs, the rates, and a lot of different things. So, Bill, give us now some examples. I mean, there are all kinds of examples, but maybe some 2 or 3 people you've helped recently, specific reasons why some of these people, without getting too detailed, of course, why they took the money and how it worked for them.
Well, it's usually people who need the money to stay in their homes.
Yeah, right.
But a few years ago, I did one for a couple who had just retired. They loved to travel, had no children, no heirs, and they took out the reverse mortgage, enabled them to literally travel around the world, not all in one trip, but they've been just about everywhere. He recently passed away, but she's still in the house and still doing a fair amount of traveling. I've also had work on the house. In some cases, that has to do with making an easier house to live in as they grow older, like railings or wheelchair ramps, that sort of thing.
Okay.
The one that I alluded to just recently, this is a 97-year-old lady who is incompetent, and her son has power of attorney. And we did a reverse mortgage for them about 3 years ago to keep her in the house with in-home care, which is quite expensive. And they're running out. And we recently have gotten in the reverse mortgage business a jumbo loan. Now, they've been around for a while, but they haven't really been, the terms have been really difficult to deal with. But we now have a very good one. And I'm working on it right now. I'll probably be signing the documents with the son, the power of attorney, tomorrow. And he's going to be receiving, in addition, he'll be paying off a reverse mortgage balance of about $350,000. Now with jumbo reverse mortgage, it's going to be a lump sum payment, but he'll be getting about $300,000 in cash to keep her in comfort in her home with 24/7 in-home care.
Yeah.
This is something that kids should think about for their parents and be aware of for their parents when the time comes.
Right. So the other benefit here too, Bill, I'm guessing either one of us are CPAs or tax experts, but so if someone, as long as it's their primary residence, someone takes money from their home and they use it how they see fit, there's no tax consequences to that. I mean, until they sell it, of course, that's a whole different thing. That's depending on each individual's tax issues. But my question is, if someone's in a home, they get a reverse mortgage, let's say for $300,000, tax implications on that, or is it only get triggered when they sell that home?
They're borrowing money from themselves.
Right.
So there's no income tax.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. But at the same time, until they pay on it, there's never a prepayment penalty on a reverse mortgage. So if someone has one and has used it for something, now has the ability to pay it down, they can. But you get no tax benefit until you do pay the loan off.
Okay.
The interest, there is interest on the loan, but it accrues. You're not making the payment.
Well, that's a good question. So, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. I was thinking about that. So what you're saying is a typical forward-paying mortgage, if I pay my mortgage every month and it's $3,000 and there's $2,000 in interest, I get to write that up to a certain extent, 100%. On a reverse mortgage, because they're not actually making a payment, but it's building on the principal, so they don't have an annual write-off while they have a reverse mortgage. Is that right? Until it gets paid off?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So there's no tax advantages in terms of that for them?
No, there's no tax advantage, no.
Okay. Anything change on the property tax at all? That's just all the same. Nothing changes there.
No.
Bill, this is only for primary residents. Can someone use this as a second home too, or investment property, or is it primary residence only?
Primary residence only.
Okay.
It does not keep them from having a second home.
Okay.
Okay, and the rule is they have to be living in the home that has the reverse mortgage for, better than half the time.
Right.
Like a day more.
Right. And what happens if, unfortunately you have a couple that have a reverse mortgage, one of them passes away? Is the other one still eligible to stay in that house? Do they have to move? How does that work?
No, they stay in the house.
Okay. And unfortunately, let's say if down the road something happens, they both pass away. Let's just, who knows whether the home's in a trust or whatever. What do the banks do in terms of that? Do they have a certain amount of time that loan has to get sold or refinanced or something? How does that work?
Well, Joe, you brought up an important thing, too, and I should have mentioned earlier, is that this is nothing more than a mortgage.
Okay.
The bank doesn't own the home. Okay, but when the last remaining borrower has moved out permanently, whether they pass away or maybe move into a retirement center or something, then the loan has to be paid off. It's up to the heirs. Let's say that they have passed away. The heirs have the choice of paying the loan off themselves and keeping the house, or they're given time to put the house on the market and sell it in order to pay the house off. Now, let's take a situation. This happened some few years ago, about 8 or 9 years ago, when we had the financial crisis in the United States. Property values did go down, Joe.
Yes, they did.
And there still are around the country situations where reverse mortgage has become the balance on the reverse mortgage because the interest is accrued on the interest on, and so on and so forth. So that the balance on the loan is higher than the value in the house. This is a non-recourse loan, which means that the only recourse that the lender has is the house itself. So in that case, if that were the case and the heirs were trying to decide what to do with it and the value wasn't there, they could just turn it back to the bank and walk away.
Okay.
The bank has no recourse to come after the estate for anything other than the house.
Okay. Give us an idea what kind of equity one needs in a home to allow this to happen. And, you give us an example. If a home is worth $1 million and it's owned free and clear, in other words, is there a criteria in which the investors look at a minimum of equity in that home before they'll do a reverse mortgage?
Well, the loan to values are much lower than they are on a forward mortgage.
Okay.
But here again, it depends on the interest rates are low now. It greatly depends then on the age of the borrowers. Okay. But to give you an idea, there's another thing that comes up here. By far, the best reverse mortgage is an FHA government-sponsored mortgage. But they set a maximum value by county around the country. And here in the Bay Area, that maximum value is $679,360, which is low. But based upon that value, someone, say, around 70 years old could probably get about $350,000. Okay. Line of credit or cash or income of probably a couple $1,000s a month.
Very good. All right. Well, before we go, we have a couple minutes left. I want to make sure. So if anyone's out there listening to the show and yourself, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, this is a topic that a lot of people don't quite understand, and that's why we do the show on it every once in a while. And I will tell you, make sure you're working with someone you trust. You hear me say this all the time. When it comes to real estate, financing, any big decisions like this, make sure you're working with someone you trust. If you don't have someone you trust or you want some recommendations, I'll throw the same thing out. Always contact me. I have a great network of people here like Bill and others that do a lot of different great things in and around real estate that we could help you with, because these are decisions that need to be thought out. These are decisions that need to be understood before you make these important decisions. And when you make financial decisions like this, it could have an impact on your life for a long time. This is not like buying a laptop or a television or an iPhone. I mean, when you make a decision to buy a home, get a reverse mortgage, leverage something, I mean, this could have an effect on your life. So make sure you do it and do it with someone that you trust. And Bill Benson's certainly one of those people if you're looking for a reverse mortgage. So before we go, again, Bill, give the listeners again an idea where they could reach you if they want some more information about reverse mortgages.
Best way to reach me is my home office telephone number, which is area code 408-378-6603. And my wife's name is Diane, and she's an EL.
That's absolutely right. And she's doing good now, right?
Yes, she is.
Good. Very good. All right, this is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Bill, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a great show. We'll have you back in a couple of months. Give us another update. How's that?
Thank you very much, Joe. I love it.
This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks again for tuning in today. For more information, you could always go to RERadiolive.com. Until next time, take care. Thank you.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com.